Chapter 19. Visualizing Mystery of Life and Death Through Breath. Every one of us is surprised to know that life and death exist simultaneously in the process of existence in our life. In every breath, each one of us is born and dies. This process goes on lifelong. In the breathing cycle, as the fresh breath goes in, one gets life with vitality, and as the breath goes out, he dies instantaneously. If the next fresh breath does not come, life of the living being is under stake. The time spent without breath till the fresh breath is not in, that is, the time spent in the void, indicates the death of the living being in such moments. So, life and death exist simultaneously in the span of life in this world in each breath cycle. It is surprising to know that in our spinal cord, two serpents are closely intermingled to each other. One of them is visible snake, that is the divine light in the life, and other one is invisible, which is the black snake of death. Both these serpents are coiled together and projected with separate hoods. Both are antipoles to each other. One is life giver and the other one is life taker. Both are complementary to each other and have distinct functions. Human survival depends on both of them. Survival is at stake and not feasible if one of them is functionless. Snake of death, the black snake, consumes the toxins of the body and keeps it healthy. It helps to excrete toxins by apana prana, apana vayu, and helps the udana prana to function. Snake of divine light moves the human life. Thus both life and death forces, that is white and black snakes, are in unison and are in love with each other. The love of these snakes is through breath. One takes the fresh breath, other exhausts the used breath, and thus the continuity of breathe in and out is suitably maintained. If the used breath is not out of the system, the fresh breath cannot enter. So, it is evident that fresh life can only come when process of death is actively continued. It must be remembered that death only brings fresh life, and so, if there is no death, then there is no life. Life and death are continuum. Neither death can exist without life, and nor life can exist without death. Life is manifested, that is Brahma or God, and death is unmanifested Brahma or God. Both are separate poles of the same existence. Birth of any living being ends up with death. It is the law of nature. So one must not be scared of death. When each one of us dies with every breath, then life beyond death and life prior to death are no mystery. It is continuous, unending process and parts of existence in different states. These are well experienced by the self-realized souls. Both white and black snakes, that is Kundalini or divine force and death, exist in Kula Chakra. In the wakeful and dream states, their existence is felt. In Sushupti state, both are in the state of Rati, that is, they are in unison. In Turiya, firstly the blackness or darkness, the indication of the presence of black snake, is visible prior to the soul light, that is, the presence of Kundalini, the white snake appears. Turiya or transcendence of time and space is the state of temporary death, the state of lack of function, where the light of Kundalini is firstly consumed by the black snake of death. After consuming positive divine energy of light, this black snake gets engaged in its own assigned activities of withdrawing toxins of the physical system, and then only Kundalini, the serpent of divine light, ascends and merges the soul with the supernal. The state of Sushupati is the root or location of the union of death and life, where death acts as a role of the husband and life acts as a role of wife. Wife as a sign of divinity and glamour. She acts as a divine power and is brought up for the godly activities. However, the husband, the black snake, the death engages himself for the mundane worldly activities of preserving, maintaining, cleaning, and conserving the human body and form. Out of love, husband, the serpent of death, takes care of life, his wife, the divine Kundalini power, and helps her to boom up. Otherwise, life, the wife, cannot be glamorous and boom up. If at death the husband does not cooperate, this is the real mystery of life and death in the span of life and spiritual evolution of a sadhaka or spiritual aspirant. Furthermore, food is essential for living. It is properly digested by the interaction of various pranas. And finally, the intestines absorb anna rasa, that is, secretion of food, and thus life moves. Black snake take energy from anna rasa for survival just by touching or kissing the white divine snake. It executes body functions to keep the body fit in all respects by removing excrete and other dead stuff of the body by creating apana vayu and thus making or cleaning the path for the kundalini to ascend to fulfill its final goal. The same food can kill the white snake when breath ceases, and pranas become functionless and food remained undigested, and then it gets converted into poison into the body. So, breath is termed as life. It is the manifested God. The same food, which is the source of energy for both the snakes, finally turns into the cause of their death. So, anarasa, when consumed by these snakes, creates hunger, it gives life, and when food is undigested, it causes death, as if it swallows the serpent of life. As the serpent lay eggs, eat part of their eggs, and hatch part of them, that becomes snakes. In the same way, food is both cause of life as well as death, and this revolves around time, space, and causation. So, in a nutshell, Anna or food is Brahma, the life-giver when digested, and it is death by itself when undigested. Death is a degenerative force that gives life after a lapse of time under appropriate conditions. So, death and life moves together. Life and death is lovable, inseparable couple, and without couple, there is no force generation. In human system, two kundalini powers exist as couple in unison, which helps each other. One preserves the body, and other assists in the mergence of the soul with the supernal. Similarly, God and Yog Maya, Brahma, that is God, and Maya, that is illusion, unmanifested and manifested forces, life and death exist in unison and cannot be separated. This is the Shrishti, or world, and mystery of God and its creation. This is the duality of life and death. In Sri Vidya, Shiva and Shakti exist for creation. For dissolution, same Shakti or power turns into the force of goddess Kali to nullify the creation. So, Shakti acts in both ways as the mother of creation and mother of dissolution. Similarly, there is a same force which gives life and causes the death. This is the duality of the creation and the mystery of the unknown. The most surprising factor is the fear of death in the human mind that makes a human being to live life very intimately, but he does not want to die. This is the Maya or illusion. The knowledge or realization of this duality of life and death is the basis of human's mind evolution, and its churning enriches him with the secret of the unknown, that both death and life are one and the same. One need not love one and hate or dislike other. Both are in continuum, one after the other. Both cannot be disintegrated or distracted. They are always in unison. However, neither one of us is permanent. Consciousness and awareness of human mind does not allow him to understand or apprehend this secret of this Almighty. This is the wonder of the Maya or illusion. Even great yogis could not penetrate in the secret of Maya or illusion in their consciousness. They just revolved around it without taking the vertical straight upward path to transcend its peripheral boundary. Only penetration of the consciousness at the Dahara Chakra can give the enlightenment of the secrets of life and death by the grace of Almighty. One can become the part of Almighty Force by integrating and disintegrating his own body in 5 elements as per his will. Yoga can only teach the art of taking away the astral body that can enter to some other body, that is, prajna, or body. However, the enlightenment from the source light can uplift the sadhaka to such a high level where he can disintegrate his body in 5 elements. Again, he can integrate the body anywhere in the universe, and thus one can make astral travel by the God's grace. In the nutshell, it may be visualized that life and death are not separate. They are in unison. They are in continuum, one after the other. Breath is the bridge. As the bridge of breath is collapsed, life disappears and death takes over. Breath discloses this mystery of life and death. One can consciously perceive it having full command on breath. Discontinuity or void in breath gives the conscious perception of death in the plane of human existence. This is the wonder of breath in unveiling the mystery of death.